Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Ozzy. This is my presentation on SSH and Open SSH. So first up, what is SSH? Overview of SSH. SSH stands for Secure Shell. SSH is a cryptographic network protocol for secure remote administration. SSH is used to encrypt communication to prevent eavesdropping and man-in-the-middle attacks. It's commonly used for remote server management, file transfers, and tunneling. The default port for SSH protocol is port 22, but this port can also be changed for security reasons. How SSH works. So first, the client initiates connection and sends a request to the SSH server. Then the server responds, provides a public key for authentication. Next are the authentication methods, which can be password-based or public-private key pair. Finally, encrypted session is established and the secure data exchange can begin. So now to focus on one of the main SSH applications, which is OpenSSH. So what is OpenSSH? OpenSSH is a free and open source SSH implementation. It is included in most Linux distributions by default. The provided utilities include SSH, which is for remote login, SCP, which is for secure file copy, FFTP, which is secure file transfer, and then SSHD, which is the SSH daemon. Here are a few of the technical details for OpenSSH. The configuration file for OpenSSH is found in the etc SSH SSHD config file. A few of the common settings for it. Port 2000 or 2222. Changing this port is usually best for security reasons. Then permit root login no. Having this prevents root login over SSH. Also, password authentication no. This allows for forced key-based authentication. Restart SSH service after changes. Use this command to restart all the changes made to SSH to ensure they are put into effect. Here are a few of my hardening recommendations for OpenSSH. Firstly, use key-based authentication by generating SSH keys and disabling password login. So for generating the SSH key, you'd run the SSH keygen command followed by your username. And then disabling passwords, how I talked about on the previous slide, you'd set password authentication no in the SSHD config file. Another hardening recommendation would be to change the default SSH port. You'd edit the SSHD config file, change it to port 2222. After this is done, you'll restart the SSH service using sudo systemctl restart SSHD. Lastly, restrict root login and limit users. Disable root login in the SSH config file. You can do this by running permit root login no and allow users specific user to the username. Now for a few pop quizzes, just to make sure you are pop quiz questions, making sure you are paying attention. So firstly, what does SSH stand for? This is one of the first things I talked about. SSH stands for Secure Shell. On to question 2. What is the default port number for SSH? I talked about port 2222 for security reasons, but this question is asking for that default port number. So what is that default port number for SSH? That would be port 22. On to question 3. What command is used to connect a remote server using SSH? That would be SSH user at remote-server, or whatever that host name of the server you're trying to remote into. On to question 4. What file is used to configure the OpenSSH server in Linux? There are multiple slides that contain this file name. So what is that file path? That would be etc ssh sshd _config. On to the last question. What is one security best practice for hardening SSH? That would be, or this had multiple answers for this question. So you could have said use key-based authentication. You could have said change default SSH port. Or you could have also said restrict root login and limit users. So thank you for watching my presentation on SSH. Hope you can take care.